I believe. It is 6 p.m. We'll call to order this Board of Appeal and Equalization. And we're doing this a little bit differently tonight due to circumstances beyond our control. We're doing it electronically. Not sure if Len is going to be here or not. Typically the way we do this is, we first get kind of a general update from our assessors who are on the line here. So we'll turn it over to Randy and Jonathan. All right.
All right. My name's John. I'm the residential appraiser for Paynesville. So I'll just kind of go into a little overview of what happened this past year and how we came up with the values. But basically for the 2020 assessment, we saw a total of 49 residential sales that were used in our sales study from October 1st of 2018 through September 30th of 2019. On those sales, the median ratio came in at 90%. So we saw a little movement upwards in the market. Typically we try to be around 95%. So you'll see that in the percentage increases down below. But basically residential, we saw about 4 to 6% increases. And I broke it out into townhomes, twin homes. Those anywhere from a little bit down, just based on the sales, to 1% up. Agricultural stayed flat. And then Randy can talk more about the commercial or apartments. But as far as these numbers, they're all just averages. Some may have gone up or down more, depending if I went to visit them. My quintile for the summer was around kind of the hospital area. So those parcels may have seen more of an increase or less of an increase depending on if I changed characteristics when I was out there. But that's pretty much all I have as far as the residential side. So turn it over to Randy.
Yes, good evening. I'll talk briefly about commercial and apartment values. As you can see in your sheet there, the typical increase for commercial industrial properties is in that 1 to 3%, which was pretty common across the whole county. Apartments and mini storage still seem to be probably our best sectors within the commercial industrial markets. Apparently mini storages typically trend similar to what apartments do, which kind of makes sense because they're typically those folks are storing they're storing stuff in the mini storages. So it kind of makes sense that those two markets tend to trend similar. They're both good investment properties right now. Vacancy is low, rents increasing. So there you can see on the range for apartments was in that 3 to 7% increase. Probably something similar on the mini storage, 3 to 7% increase on mini storage, but for the most part, the commercial was in that 1 to 3% range. That's all I've got as well.
We can take questions if there are any from the board.
Anybody questions on the general numbers there? Okay, we do have 4 that have asked to come and present tonight. We have 3 commercial and 1 residential. Actually, it's a vacant lot, but is in residential. So we'll get going into those. The first one is Justin Halfrath at 122 Washburn Avenue. And we have the parcel number on that one.
.39026.0000.
Okay, did you get that, Randy?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. What do you have, Justin? And this is what's known as the corner drug. And we don't have anything before us. Justin did bring some documents along. If we need copies, we can get those quick if we wanted, but, what's that one at, Randy?
Currently, that one sits at 98.7, it looks, 98.7. Is Justin there then, or?
He is here, yep.
Is he in person?
Yep.
He's here in person.
He's here.
I
And,
guess I'd like to hear just kind of some of the circumstances, I guess, behind the sale.
yep. Yeah, interesting. And Justin, if you want to sit by one of the microphones, that might be, so Randy can hear you. That they should all be on.
Yeah.
Test. And when did you purchase that, the date, Justin?
All right. The deed was recorded on 12/26.
12/26, okay. Mm-hmm. Can you hear him, Randy?
I cannot, not at this point.
Okay, move, you can move the microphone there and,
How about now?
Keep talking so far.
Yeah?
yep,
Okay. Yeah, there was a warranty deed recorded on 12/26. The previous owner, Landshark, they had had it for a number of years. It was listed last year in July, and so it had a cumulative days on the market for 152 for that listing. It had started at 49.9. When they canceled the listing prior to the sale, it was at 29.9. And I don't know how to explain how it went down like that, but they wanted it off their books. They had been with it for years, and it's a property that just needs a lot of help, or if it comes down, it needs to come down with the building next door. So I'm not sure quite what to say, except it certainly isn't worth the assessed value.
Justin, was the apartment still in use, or has that been vacant too for a number of years?
It appears to have been vacant for a many number of years.
Okay.
If it had some substantial deferred maintenance, and just mostly cosmetic, it would be livable again. The commercial space, there are some water infiltration issues, mostly with improper drainage. That has caused some issues, let alone the age of the roof. Right now it is watertight, but it needs a new roof.
what was the purchase price on that?
It was $1,000, and the buyer paid all the closing costs, and there were some outstanding bills and things like that.
You familiar with that? This is Jeff. You familiar with that project, Randy? Have you viewed it?
Yes, I actually viewed it shortly before it closed, so I had gone through it. I know it was a very dated building. I wasn't aware of any functional issues, structural issues. So I guess if there is some of that, obviously I need to be made aware of that. Because the value we have on it, we have been. When a building sits empty that long, we typically continue to add functional obsolescence, because the longer it sits, it tends to have more issues, right? Things start to happen. So I have been adding functional obsolescence to that building. If I remember right, it was around 2014 when that went dark. I thought initially it was listed close to, or right around what we had on it, around that 100,000, maybe just under 100,000. So that's kind of been, I've been just trying to keep that value flat, to maybe go down slightly some years, depending on what we're doing for market changes out there. I know previously, the previous owner had bought it, I think for, what was it, 125, and that was in 2008. So I guess there wasn't any big flags for me to do any further adjustments to that. So, this one's a tough one to do because I don't know over the structural issues that are in there. Some of the extenuating circumstances, maybe with the foundation that he had mentioned in the email. So I'm kind of going to lean on the council a bit on this one tonight because I mean, obviously there's not a perfect comparable out there. Do I think the value is $1,000? No, I don't. But what is that number? It's going to be kind of tricky. So I guess I would like to hear a little bit about what the board has to say about it.
We've looked at the property once or twice. I've had our city engineer take a look at it. Have had one of the construction companies in town here take a look at it. And we've had a hard time getting anybody to give us an estimate on even tearing the building down because of there appears to be shared foundation, shared stairway, a number of different issues with that. As far as the value, I'm not sure if anybody here can really put a number on it, whether or not it's to be used or demolished or left standing. There are a number of issues, and this might be one to take a look at before we actually come up with any type of a guesstimate.
Yeah, no, I definitely realize, when I saw that come through, I knew it was going to be a challenge because it just sounds like a number or just a lack of interested buyers on this property. So the list prices continue to fall. What I can tell you is, the reason the value is what it's at is we did have 3 sales recently in the downtown area, and we actually looked really good on all 3 of them. 208 James, we were at 100% ratio. 109 Washburn, we're at 82% ratio. 115 Business, 23 East, we're at 94% ratio. So just to give you an indication of why we left the value where it is, it doesn't mean we can't adjust for things that's wrong with this specific property, which is what this meeting is about. And if we, like you said, if we have to reconvene for this property, if we think there might be something new that might come to light, maybe we should do that. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a vacant lot in your comps here that was what was that sold for, what, 16? That was at what?
What page was that on, Jeff?
66.
That's not commercial. Is it?
Yeah.
It is, okay.
Yep.
I thought it was residential.
Yeah, it's next to Insight.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yes, yep, right, yep. I think we're right on that sale too, I believe, I think we had a similar value, if I remember right. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to try to take a stab at it tonight at a value, or if we want to just table this one.
Justin, do you have, you're in the business too of, real estate.
This one's an anomaly. I really don't know what to tell you. I know paired well with the one next door, it'd be a great place for redevelopment. Mm-hmm. Certainly someone for the right price could come into this, put a little makeup on it, and live and do something functional with the main floor for some type of a business. So I do intend to market it at some point. When I go to market it, it's probably going to be listed at, I don't know, I was thinking 23, maybe lower. I put a for lease sale on, a sign on it today. I'd honestly lease it for close to nothing and do a triple net type of a deal and let someone do something with it. I talked to the owner of the property next door, and I know that they've contemplated selling. I don't know if they'll be willing to list, and as I've asked them to pair the two together in one listing. I know that they want, I think if they were to list it, they'd probably want close to 100. So if you had the two together, I'd probably list them, 125,
Mr. Mayor, it's hard to hear. I don't know if anybody's talking right now. I can't hear anything. Did something get shut off or?
Oh, no, that was, slide the microphone a little.
I probably wasn't talking directly into the mic.
Can you hear that better, Randy?
Yes, thank you. Just a reminder, if you're not speaking, if you could mute your phone. Somebody might have joined on Zoom with the microphone on it. It's hard to hear over that.
I guess I'm trying to recap. If I were to list it for sale, which I intend to at some point here, I'd probably put it up for sale, I don't know, 23, looking for offers, put it up for lease. I'd be willing to do a lease, triple net, for very, very reasonable to allow someone, time to put their build-out improvements. The apartment could be livable. There are some cosmetic issues. It would be nice to see something done. I'm sure the town is probably sick of looking at it. If any of you recall anything I said that you want to repeat, feel free.
Now, that's, from what I recall, that's basically what you had said the first go-around. It does have some cosmetic damage on the outside. There was an awning that I think the snow pulled down one winter, a couple winters ago.
I had talked about the neighbor possibly selling, and I think if they were to sell, they'd be 90 to 100. So if there was a way that they would market together, and I'm not too sure that the foundations really are connected. I think they're close, in the stairway, but all of that could be, and you'd have to have surgical precision, I suppose, if you were to tear one down next to that one, but that's a lot of downtown buildings. Anyways, if you listed the two together and you could buy them both for, 120, let's say, both parties would probably likely walk away from it. It'd make a good redevelopment site. I know when I talked to the city before, there might be some small cities grants, but I understand that the city would need to own it in order to do that. So you almost want to find like an end developer that would buy it for X dollar amount once the city was done working through the demo and the small cities grants. Anyways, I think that was it.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Neil or Sean?
Well, I definitely think 98 is way high.
Don't forget. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I almost look at it as like a bare lot, with some potential value in the building, but I'm not really sure what value that would be.
Now, your lot that went for 16 or whatever.
18 over there, yep.
18?
Yep.
Square footage, comparing lot to lot, let's just say.
I can't, my battery died already, so I can't,
This lot measures 25 by 140. According to this piece of paper I'm looking at. 25 times 140, 3,500 square feet, which is pretty much the same square footage as the main floor.
vacant lot was 37, this is Sean Ranky. The vacant lot was 3,700 square feet. This one being a little bit smaller with a building, that would have to come down to be useful. 15 seems reasonable to me.
Justin talking here again, I think the county silos the estimated market value of the building and the land, and if I saw somewhere they had the land estimated market of 15 something. 15.9 for the land value. They were calling the building was worth 80 and 900.
Alicia, you got any thoughts?
I was just wondering, are we allowed to talk about what is the taxable value of the Eats and Treats building next door?
We are, yes.
Does anybody have that figure available?
If we have the parcel number.
Yeah, give me a minute, I'll see if I can find it, okay?
It would be the property right to the north of the one we're talking about.
Okay. That one's at 71.1 for this assessment.
And that does have a apartment that is utilized.
Yeah, they've got people living in that apartment. I think
And there is a business
she's got a,
operating in,
yeah, she's got a kitchen in there with a hood vent and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my opinion would be that we would need to probably look at a number well below that 71.1, just based on the condition of that building.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what that number would be right now, but I feel like definitely would have less value.
I tend to agree with Sean that something in the, the range of what the value of the land is. The building is going to need a fair amount of work, the apartment upstairs. I haven't been up there, but staff has been up there, and the whole thing needs some work.
I'd have to be pretty desperate to live in it the way it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, usually
Yep.
in cases like this, it's nice if the property owner could get us some kind of bid of what it's going to cost to get this property up to functioning again. They call it a cost to cure. It's without knowing what's actually wrong. I'm having a hard time coming up with a cost to cure on something like this.
Sure.
If we could reconvene and have them.
I can
some kind
ballpark
of
it a little
estimate.
bit.
Yeah, we can do that. We can put this one, aside and get some more.
I can do some ballpark and some email. I rehabbed another building in another community, but it had more units in it, and so it made more sense to rehab that one.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Yeah, we've looked at it, we haven't got, like I said, we have tried to get some estimates on demolition, but they were even afraid to put any numbers on that because of a lot of the unknowns.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. I think I could get it down myself for 60 grand, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that, did you say 60,000?
I think I could find someone to tear it down for that kind of number and haul it away. But there's that concern to the neighbor's building. You'd have to put up a new stairway, and you'd need to have a foundation specialist make sure that foundation specialist along with a structural guy to make sure that you're carrying the weight properly to the neighbor.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be wise to table it at this point.
Yep. Okay, we will do that. We will get some more numbers from Justin. We'll see if we get some, Randy, if you could maybe do some more work behind the scenes there too on that property.
Yep.
All right,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Take care.
Okay, next one, waiting patiently up in, this looks like, what was that game show up there, Hollywood Squares. Yahtzee Construction, all right. And parcel number is I don't think I have it.
It's 110 Spruce Street, if that helps.
This is the former Tom Thumb building.
Randy, if you're familiar with that, the old Tom Thumb building?
Yes, very familiar with that one. I've gone through that a couple times, yep.
Okay.
I have the ID number if we need it.
Did Jason want to start out, or?
Was on here. There he is.
Jason, can
Yeah,
you
I'm
hear us?
here.
Jason?
We bought the property in December and we paid $100,000 for it. Yeah, I'm not sure really what to say. We got the notice in the mail. It was valued at $150, so I just called in and kind of asked what that means. I'm not real familiar with it or whatever, so I guess I'm here to see what that means or how that works.
Sure, okay. Well, I can just kind of run down some of my notes here. Just one thing we need to keep in mind is that a sale price is not always market value, okay? Because there's motivations that can come into play on both sides. Some properties sell for more than the market value, some sell for less. It all depends on the motivations of the buyer and seller, okay? With this property, it's kind of unique because it's sold twice almost within a year of each other. The first sale price was it was in November of 2018, which actually was in our assessment period this year. Remember, our assessment period ran from October 1st of 18 through September of 2019. So we have a sale price there staring at us for $120,000, and now Jason bought it. I think it was in mid-December of 2019 for $100,000. So again, the challenge is, where does the market value land on this? I had 149.1 on it for this assessment. Pretty comfortable with my land value because there has been a couple, for sure one or I thought maybe even two lots that have sold kind of down the way from towards the nursery there. So I've got a good handle on what land value is on 55 there. So really, it's going to come down to that building value, and I am actually going to be recommending a reduction of value on this one. Jason did share with me that the roof is poor. It's going to have to be fixed and replaced. He had figured about $14,000 for that. Also, the blacktop on that property is very tough shape actually. So I actually would be recommending a reduction down to $124,000. Which is more in line with what the purchase price was in our assessment period. So it was sold for $120. I'm recommending $124 in this one. So that's basically taking into account the blacktop, the roof that needs to be repaired, and then I also called about 50% of it more the use he's going to use it for, because there's not much for finish on the inside of that building. If I remember right, it was just rough sheetrock. So it kind of lends itself to a quasi, shop. So I put 50% at shop, 50% at discount retail, which is how the previous owner was using it. And that's how I'm driving at the 124. So what does the board think of that?
So your recommendation there, Randy, is coming down to 124 off the 149.
That's correct. Yep, 149.1 to 124.
Okay. Did you hear that, Jason?
Yes, I did.
Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not, throwing a big fit or anything. I was just here to see how this all works, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's our job, is to, we get the advice from our assessor. We are not the experts. We rely on their advice, and we also hear from the actual property owners, as to, like you probably heard before, of the circumstances or other, things with the property. And regardless of what we do, you do have an appeal process. You're familiar with that?
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh.
I mean, I read something like that in passing. I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, you can appeal to the county, which is when?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. So, I'm comfortable with what our commercial assessor Randy has put here. Thoughts from Alicia?
I'd be okay with that as well.
Good with me.
Good with Sean, Neil?
I think it's a lot of property for that kind of money, so if anything, I'd say you better take it and run.
Yeah, it is a nice location up there. There are some issues like we just heard from Randy, but I'm thinking we're good at the 124 per Randy. And we won't make a decision right now. We wait till the end of our meeting and make a decision. We won't be closing this meeting tonight because we are leaving at least the one property so far open for additional information. So, and you will be you'll be notified formally as to what our decision is.
Yep, the county sends out letters to all
Yep.
the appellants.
All right.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Yep. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. Jeremy, are you still there? Looks like it.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Sheltering in place.
Yes.
Okay, and this is on your commercial property just up the street here. And
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. And the parcel number,
70.39.000.0000.
did you get that, Randy?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. And what do we have there for value, Randy?
I show 378,200.
378,200. And Jeremy's got some numbers here. Go ahead, Jeremy, hit us with them.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So what I did is I just kind of put together every property, on the same side, basically right down the block and back behind us, and just kind of went through the values. I have a property number starting with, that would be the Jacobson building and Jacobson lots, and then just kind of going from Jacobson's to the movie theater, to Flanders, to us, to the building on the corner, and then the appliance place back behind us, then Riley Flanders, and then Excel, and then Gilmore's properties. And just kind of compared the valuations from each one of them, the taxable market value and the tax rate for each of those, and really was looking at something of comparable size and property type to ours, and just feel that where our valuation is substantially higher than any of those other properties. Even if you took some of them and doubled them to get to our size, we're still greatly above that. So I just wanted to try to see if we could look at getting closer to evaluation of what we estimated to be somewhere around that $300,000 range versus that 378 value.
Okay, Randy, how'd you get to your figures?
Sure, yep. So this building is, we had pretty much 100% office building. So Jeremy, just for informational, when it comes to appraising property, the type of finish on the inside, the way the property is being used does impact the value of the property. So an office building, just due to the amount of electricity that's run through the building, whatever the build out on an office building is significantly higher than other types of uses. There's not many that are valued higher per square foot than office buildings, so it's hard to compare to a lot of the buildings down the main street there. And the type of finish too. Your building is probably one of the more updated office buildings in the town, so it does have probably one of the higher price per square foots in the community there. But I did actually I'm recommending a reduction, and here's the reason why. I went out and looked at some comparable properties. There's not a lot of them in our county that have sold that are single tenant office buildings that are outside of the St. Cloud area, but I did find one in Sauk Center. It's the old Felling Real Estate Building. If you guys are familiar with that one, it looks fairly comparable in structure and location. It is smaller, and this property sold in February of 2019 for $66 a square foot. I would actually, I think what this building might suffer from is that it's a bit overbuilt for office in Paynesville. He's got around 7,000 square feet of office space there. Actually, it was 6,800 square feet of office. It's from what I'm looking at other properties that have sold in the office, that's quite large. So what I'm actually recommending is that we value about half of that building as office and the rest as retail, which is, in a lot of these downtown communities, the highest and best use for a lot of those buildings is going to be retail, because when they buy and sell, that's typically what it's going to be in the downtown areas, right? The Belgrades, the Brutons, the El Rosas, all these downtowns, they typically buy and sell as retail. The shop goes in there, local shop goes in there. So what I would recommend then is that we value half of that at retail, half at office. Brings it more in line with the amount of office space that I'm typically seeing in these smaller communities, closer to that 3,000 range. And when I do that, it brings that value down to $315,600. And the total price per square foot now, and remember that sale was at 66. It brings it down to $44.83 a square foot, which seems to be more in line with what it should be based on the amount of square footage he has. He's got twice as much as that sale, even more than that. So I think that's probably what this property suffers from a little bit. So again, I'd be recommending $315,600. And then I took a look at, when he bought this property in 2014 for $275, I took the amount of assessments we've had since then and just divided it by the percent change over that period from 275 to 315. That's about 2.5% per year, which that has, if we look back the last 5-6 years, that actually has been our average typical increase on commercial properties. So seems to fit more in line at this number than the 378. So my recommendation would be to change it from 378.2 to 315,600.
Okay, comments, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think, and where I was kind of looking at the closest, I think comparable to me would be the property at the end where the dentist and that's all pretty much office, and the dog grooming place, and then the insurance company, that's all remodeled in the front, and that's where I was kind of looking at that property number 5 and coming up with the value off of that. So. But no, I'm very comfortable with the 315,600.
Yeah, you've got a nice building there. I'd be comfortable with the 315.6. That's what we hire the assessors for. They're the so-called experts. They're not right all the time, but they're usually, they're required to be within.
Make mistakes too, yep.
They're required by statute to be within, from what, 90 to 105%?
That's correct, yep, 90 to 105%, yep.
Mm-hmm. They're closer than the weather people.
Yeah, there you go.
Good with me.
Good with Sean? Alicia?
That sounds fair to me.
Okay. Well, I have a hunch that's what our, Neil?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, I have a hunch that's what our, final will be here.
It's nice that we have some, nice buildings in downtown.
Yes, yeah, we need a few more.
When you keep them up and they look good, that's appreciated.
Hey, thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy.
It's been all Jays tonight so far. Justin, Jason, and Jeremy. All right, thank you. Okay, and the last one is a commercial one, and this one is down by the riverside. The Hartman property, and
70.3919.0000.
This Victoria?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we'll let you speak on your property for a little bit, and then I'll get into it.
Okay. I think the property taxes of the river lots are too high. They've flooded many times throughout the years, and I don't think anybody could build there. And I have seen that when all the lots were flooded, and I have pictures of that. So that, I just think that the taxes are just way too high on that.
what do you hit, Jonathan, what's that valued at, or is that on our sheet?
So the property ID number is 70-39193.
Yep,
000. And
Correct.
you got on it was 38,500.
oh yeah.
So, looking into it and looking into what the city provided me, it would take some work to get it up to buildable standards, I guess. So we're kind of looking at a cost to cure method when it comes to this parcel. And I'm just throwing on our LiDAR rate, or our LiDAR layer, shows how above sea level it is. Looks like typical properties along there, they're around the 1160 mark. The highest point on this parcel is 1154. So to kind of backfill that as a cost to cure method, I looked at several different, say you have to backfill 8 feet, and I'm using a 1/4 acre as a site, and it would be tapered off. So these are just numbers that I came up with. At 8 feet backfill, at $7 a cubic yard, the cost to cure would be $22,600. So that would be coming off. That's at the very high end of the scale. At 6 feet on average, for that 1/4 acre to backfill, the cost to cure would be $16,900. $4 feet backfill on that 1/4 acre would be $11,300 cost to cure. So I kind of want to leave it up to the board because I'm not too familiar with this property. I've seen the pictures of it, and I do believe it floods. So I do believe this cost to cure needs to be on there. I'm just not too sure of how much should be put on. I'm leaning towards the 6 feet backfill that would need to be put on there, which would be $16,900. off of that original estimated market value. So off of there, off of the 38.5, the new estimated market value would be 21,600. So I guess that would be my recommendation.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
We haven't said yes yet.
Do we have any comments from the board? Questions?
Uh-oh.
We have some background noise here with our warning test. Yeah, I don't know, it's, 38.5 as a buildable lot probably, but, if it's not buildable, yeah. Neil?
Well, I've seen it does, wet year.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely floods.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't, its purpose,
Alicia?
Well, 21.6 seems in line with the other, like, vacant buildable lots that we're selling in town. This lot seems a little bit larger, and down by the river, so,
Sean?
It is larger, and that's where that original value came in, the 38.5. I had quite a big adjustment upwards, because I was saying a typical lot was about 24,000 in Paynesville, or at least in this neighborhood. So it had a big adjustment upwards.
yeah.
So basically to bring it back down to another buildable lot, it would just be that cost of cure adjustment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Would you ever sell that lot? Still there?
Yes,
Would you ever sell that lot? And I'm not interested in buying it, but it's just, it would take a lot to make that a,
there's too much screeching. I can't make out what's...
The sirens are being tested
Yeah.
right now. He's asking if you would ever sell that lot.
I don't know. I haven't tried or anything.
yeah. It's just kind of a moot question.
The 21.6 seems reasonable to me, knowing the work that has to go into it. If it were ready to sell, I would look at the 38 or higher, but yeah.
Yep, I think we have a consensus on the 21.6. You've done your research there, Jonathan, right?
I have, yeah.
Yep. Okay. That's probably where we're gonna end up. We are not, we're not closing this meeting. We have one that we're leaving open. We will, got some other work to do on another parcel, but that's probably where we're gonna be, and you will get an official notice on what our final decision is, but it's looking like 21.6. All right? Thank you. Okay, we have one that we are going to hold open for some further information, and that's on the, I call it Pathrath property, but that's not legally what it is, but the old corner drug. We're gonna get some more, Justin is gonna get us some information on that, and Randy, you're gonna do some work behind the scenes on that too, potentially?
That's correct, yep, I will.
Okay. Then it looks like on the other ones there, the Yahtzee one, 124,000, is that right?
That's correct.
on the Wilner property downtown here, 315.6,
That's correct.
and 21.6 on the Hartman property.
That's correct.
Okay, and so we will recess this. Anything else for tonight from you guys?
Mr. Mayor, typically, when we reconvene, we close it to any new appeals, and we make this, we want to make the decisions for these 3 tonight, and then just leave it open for the 1 appeal.
Yep.
That's how we typically do it, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, do we need individual motions for these 3, or do we do them all?
Typically, we do, if it's a big deal. I don't know if there's a total technical protocol. Usually it is individual motions for each property, though.
Okay. For the first one on the Yahtzee property, 124, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to set it at 124,000.
Second.
Motion by Hertzberg, second by Rinky to adjust the Yahtzee property to 124,000. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carried.
I'll make a motion to set the Wilner property, but I believe there's a typo on page 1. It should be 203 Washburn instead of 211 at $315,600.
Second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by Hertzberg to adjust the Wildner property to 315,600. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carried. And on Hartman property,
I'll make the motion to set that at 21,600 for the Hartman property, Central Avenue.
Second.
motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Rinky to set the Hartman property at 21.6. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carried. And what's our next, that May? No.
If somebody could just make a motion, if you want to reconvene for the 1 parcel number, that you make a motion to that as well.
I'll make a motion to set a reconvene date on parcel 70.39026.0000.
Sorry, Sean, I couldn't hear you. Did you set a date for that?
That is part of my
Jennifer's
motion.
I'm sorry, I thought you were just going to do a motion on just making sure that that one was going to be reconvened, and then set a date and then recess? Or did I misunderstand, Randy?
Okay, I just couldn't hear. I couldn't, maybe Sean could pull his microphone closer. I just couldn't hear him.
Yeah, we don't close, we just recess and then reconvene. And we're looking for a date.
Okay.
Correct.
So, Randy, are you available next week?
Yeah, how much, I should have asked Justin how much time he needs. Should we give a week, or how much do you want to give him?
Well, we're open on the 30th. That's 2 weeks.
That'd work, the 30th?
That, when's the appeal?
Typically, you have to reconvene within 20 days, but this year
Right.
the Department of Revenue has waived that, so we actually, if you want to go the 30th, that'd be just fine.
Okay,
Actually, yeah, that would be within 20 days anyway, so you're fine.
That would be 14
Let me
days.
just check my calendar, make sure though that's work.
and there's no issue with it. When was your appeal date? Is it May?
The county board is June 22nd.
June 22nd, okay.
Yep. It's always in June. So if you guys want to, so you're thinking Thursday the 30th, right?
Yep, April 30th,
6
Same
o'clock.
time?
6 o'clock, yep.
Okay, works for me.
Okay, was that a second by
I'll
Alicia?
second.
Okay, we'll get your name in the records here. Motion by Rinky, second by LeBeau to reconvene at 6 PM on Thursday, April 30th. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, then we are recessed until then. Thank you. It's been
Okay,
fun.
thank you, everybody.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Bye.